And the Eagles have their first official win of the season, and it could not have come in more exciting fashion. We are so excited to break it all down here on the Postgame Show presented by Ricoh. I'm Amy Campbell. I have Fran Duffy with me. I have Ike Reese with me. Guys, there are so many exciting things to talk about here, so many big moments in this game, so much to break down, and we had a Hail Mary attempt at the end there. The ball was bouncing around. I was holding my breath. Ike, were you able to stay in your seat for that?
I was not, Amy. I'm back here yelling, knock it down, knock it down. I mean, you cannot bat the ball around in the end zone. Bad things happen when you do that. Just knock the ball down to the ground. Thankfully, nothing bad happened with that ball bouncing around in the end zone, Amy and Fran.
Fran, the Eagles' defense, it's the defense who, the game comes down to the defense making a stop as C.J. Beathard is driving down the field, cool as a cucumber, hoping to take the lead there and put San Francisco up, but the Eagles get the win 25-20 in Sunday Night Football. A very, very exciting one here. And now are in first place in the NFC East.
Can I just say real quick before we even talk about the game, Ike, I miss having you in the studio. I miss seeing you in person. I do not miss. I'm so glad I was not next to you for the final play of that game because I know you would have put me through a wall in celebration and agony. But guys, yeah, the defense came up big in this game. The offense did everything that they needed to do to be able to put points on the board. We saw a huge play, a 42-yard touchdown throw from Carson Wentz on a beautiful fade to Travis Fulgham. But you get that sequence where you have the strip sack by cre'von LeBlanc that the Eagles were able to turn into points, and then come back and get the pick six by Alex Singleton. Right there, I mean, that flipped the whole game. Just outstanding job. This was a full team win. You get the onside kick recovery at the end to make sure you're in good shape and you have good field position. That decision is going to be interesting. I'm sure will get talked about in San Francisco over the next couple of days. But yeah, the Eagles, it's going to be great to come back with a win for sure.
Ooh, of course, winning cures everything. And with that, we're going to go to Dave Spadaro. Dave, your key to this game was getting takeaways for the defense. Darius Slay said once the first one comes, they come in bunches. That's what we saw tonight. 3 takeaways for this Eagles defense, including a pick six by Alex Singleton. What did you think of this performance?
Yeah, the first place Eagles came and played with everything that we wanted them to play with. They played with heart. They were resilient. They showed some depth. A lot of players limping off the field. An amazing touchdown catch from Travis Fulgham. We'll talk about him, I'm sure, throughout the evening and the week. Carson Wentz stood strong, a lot of pressure on him. I thought he was resourceful. I thought the Eagles had good balance offensively. Let's not forget the 2-point conversion call. You know, we're all sitting there going, Doug, what are you doing in the first quarter, scoring a touchdown and going for 2 points? But it certainly paid off. It changed really the outcome of the fourth quarter. And then I thought the defensive line, so much pressure the entire game, 5 sacks on San Francisco's quarterbacks. The Eagles didn't have an answer for George Kittle all night. I mean, there's something with this tight end situation that they've got to remedy. I was kind of hoping that they would put Darius Slay on it, but they didn't do that. But it does come down to takeaways. And statistically, when you take the football away more than you give it away, you win football games. And the Eagles came into this game -7, worst in the NFL, and tonight a 3-1 advantage. And we see what happens on the scoreboard. Huge win. Eagles take over first place, and maybe this is the start of something really great in a very difficult 3-game stretch.
Yeah, Dave, defense led the charge in this game. But Carson Wentz working with what he was working with on offense, just talk about how impressive he was being able to shake off that early interception and really doing whatever he needed to do to move the football out there and then taking his opportunities when they presented itself.
It really kind of went according to the script that we all talked about before the game. Run the football, get Carson out of the pocket, some designed runs for him, Jalen Hurts, a couple of designed runs for him, some opportunities. You know, you try a jet sweep to Adrian Killins, didn't work. Try to get him in space, didn't really work very well. And then the throw to Fulgham is amazing. Now, I'm telling you, over the course of the training camp period and the course of this week, I bet Carson hasn't thrown to Fulgham. Is it Fulgham or Fulgham? I'm not even sure. Fulgham. I mean, nobody really knows much about the guy other than he went to Old Dominion. He looked good. The Eagles kind of felt really good about him, but didn't want anybody to know. But the timing on that throw and then the adjustment that he made and the catch in traffic to hold on, stay in bounds, and get into the end zone, I mean, that is a big-time play. And I'm telling you, those two probably haven't connected on plays in practice, 10 times in an 11-on-11 situation? But on a Sunday night primetime game, Travis Fulgham came up big for the Philadelphia Eagles, as did Carson Wentz, really showing toughness. And that's what the Eagles need. Not pretty, but they scored the most points of the season. Singleton scores a touchdown defense. Just as Fran said, tremendous team performance.
Dave, I'm interested to go back to something that you said earlier, which was that two-point conversion on the first touchdown. What do you think that says about, I guess, Doug Peterson's demeanor going into this game? Obviously, he was questioned Monday, Tuesday after the ending to that game against Cincinnati. It's interesting to see him come out and go pedal to the metal. Obviously, they played a lot of tempo offensively, but to be that aggressive and say, we're going to go 2-point and really kind of change the scope of this game with the first points on the board.
Fran, desperate times call for desperate measures. And the Eagles obviously felt that they had seen something perhaps in San Francisco's two-point defense. They certainly dialed up a perfect call, wide open Zach Ertz. And, you know, you're trying to manufacture points any way you can. There were 3 possessions where I was writing this down. The Eagles had drives, and then there was, you know, a Carson Wentz interception in San Francisco territory. And then there was the Jordan Mailata false start on the 3rd and 1 in San Francisco territory. And then there was the Jason Kelce snap that Carson couldn't handle in San Francisco territory. And those were 3 drives where the Eagles, I felt, kind of left opportunities on the field. And this one for Doug, I mean, look, he had a chance to put points on the board, and he wasn't going to mess around with this at all. You have to be aggressive when your offense is struggling to score points, and he was tonight, and it paid off in a big way.
Great to see, Dave, this defense in consecutive weeks take advantage of young quarterbacks. Jim Schwartz, not necessarily known for bringing extra pressure, but the last 2 weeks going up against young quarterbacks, I like what Jim Schwartz's game plan was. Can you talk a little bit about how the defense really set the tone for this team today?
Ike, I loved the defensive philosophy until the last 2 drives, and then to have C.J. Beathard go down the field so easily, I didn't like it, and I certainly was nervous on the final San Francisco drive. So I loved what Jim was doing. I love the way he mixed it up. But I got to point out, Derek Barnett and Josh Sweat abused a future Hall of Fame left tackle, Trent Williams. I mean, they abused him all night for sacks, false starts, a holding call. They did a great job in a stand-up position coming off the edge. And then Jannard Avery, whom the Eagles acquired last year in the trade with the Cleveland Browns, has not gotten many reps at all, came with great energy and power when they used him off the edge too. So they mixed it up. They were able to use the depth. We thought that the Eagles' defensive tackles would really have a chance to dominate inside. But as it turned out, the edge, including Brandon Graham, really beat up on McGlinchey on the right side and Trent Williams on the left side. The Eagles did an excellent job stopping San Francisco's running game and making the 49ers beat them in the throwing game. And San Francisco just doesn't have enough weapons on the outside. They got a lot of George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, great play, Deebo Samuel a little bit here and there, but otherwise the Eagles defense held up great.
Dave, one more question about the Eagles' offense, the game plan that Doug Peterson put together, but especially Carson Wentz's performance. You talked about bouncing back from that interception on the opening drive, but we saw him use his legs. We saw him do some of those things that we love to see him do, escaping the pressure, making the throws down the field. Do you think that he's starting to get a little bit of that confidence back to trust himself in those situations?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit of my sense with Carson is that it's not confidence, it's that he's pressing at times. You know, he's thrown 7 interceptions. I think 5 or 6 of them have come on first downs. And so to me, that indicates somebody who's trying to take a little bit too much from a defense instead of living for the next play. I interview Carson every week. He's incredibly cooperative. I don't ever sense watching him on the practice field, talking to him, that there's ever a lack of confidence. But I think tonight he was very aware of not turning the football over. And so getting him in a run situation makes the defense account for that. San Francisco did adjust with some of the design runs, but Carson's ability to escape pressure, get on the edge, and run past, strong enough to shrug off pass rushers, and also still fast enough to get up the field, really paid off for the Eagles offense. Good balance for the offense. The run game was okay, helped a lot by Carson's ground game. Just the kind of game that Carson needs to play in order for an Eagles team that just is not getting that explosive plays. I mean, Zach Ertz, I think, had 4 catches for 9 yards, something like that. The Niners took him out of the game. The Niners took Miles Sanders out of the game. So the Eagles had to go. They took Greg Ward out of the game. So the Eagles had to go to other weapons, and Carson did a good job getting the football to Richard Rodgers, to Fulgham, moving the football around a little bit. And certainly in the second half, where the Eagles have had so many problems all year, outscored 49-13 coming into this game in the second half. The Eagles win the second half and win the game.
Wow, and that is an astounding stat there, and I think a lot of good to build on here for Carson Wentz and the Eagles offense. Dave, I'm looking forward to hearing your podcast after this one.
It'll be a fun one, Amy. We're in first place.
Yes.
I mean, you can say all you want about it. They never ask you how. They just ask you how many. My good buddy Ron Jaworski told me that. And right now, at the quarter point of the 2020 season, the Philadelphia Eagles are in first place in the NFC East. So anybody who said that tie last week didn't mean anything, take back your words.
Look at that. There it is right there. I love it. All right, Dave, thanks so much. We'll catch up with you later.
All righty.
All right, Ike, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. What's the biggest thing that's standing out to you from this game?
Well, for me, Amy and Fran, it's the defense. We've been asking this defense to take the ball away, to create turnovers. Dave talked about the plus-minus turnover ratio. Eagles dead last coming into this game, -7 in that department. They needed this defense to take the ball away from Nick Mullins and C.J. Beathard tonight. But Nick Mullins definitely, and I thought the defense came up huge tonight. Big play after big play, 5 sacks, 3 turnovers, a touchdown. I know it got a little hairy at the end there. That's what happens when you play that bend but don't break defense and you're trying to get the 49ers to eat up as much clock as possible. It got a little hairy, but when push came to shove, this defense came up with the plays they needed to come up with, and we needed them to give the Eagles offense an extra possession in San Francisco territory. This offense lacks explosiveness. I know you had the big touchdown to Fulgham tonight, but it lacks explosiveness, and it's hard to score 10, 12, 14 play drives. The Eagles had one drive tonight of 17 plays, and they kicked a field goal. That's how difficult it is for this team to get the ball in the end zone. And so you're going to need as many cracks as you can with the football, and it was great that the defense was able to get some extra possessions tonight for this offense, and the Eagles were able to capitalize. For me, they were the driving force tonight for this win, for the first win of the season.
Well, look, you hear around here all the time that it's the defensive line that is the engine of the defense, and they showed up big tonight. 5 sacks, you mentioned it. Many guys making plays. And getting that first interception, the one that Rodney McLeod had, the first takeaway of the season, you almost felt like the monkey was off the back. It was this, Darius Slay talked about it. They start coming, they come in bunches. To me, that's kind of the theme of this, Fran, is that it was like, okay, we got the first one, and there was a bit more of a relaxation. They dialed up that pressure, and they gave Nick Mullins a very long night.
Yeah, and that's why whenever we have these discussions of, how do you create more turnovers on defense, you just got to keep doing your thing because they come. You can't predict that Nick Mullins is going to throw it right into the chest of Alex Singleton, but Alex Singleton's there to make the play, and he makes the play. That's ultimately what it comes down to. A little bit of luck is involved with most turnovers. But to me, the big thing, guys, obviously we talk about the pass rush, and the D-line makes this whole defense go. One of the things that also stood out to me in a big, big way in this game, and Ike, I know you're going to love this too, is not just the fact that they were able to impact the quarterback, but how many screens did we see to the running backs, the receivers, the tight ends? A defensive lineman almost always was one of the first guys at the football, no matter where that guy was tackled. If it was a 3-yard loss, great, defensive lineman there. But even on the Brandon Ayuk touchdown, who's the guy that's diving into the end zone with Ayuk? It's Derek Barnett trying to make the play from the backside. That stood out to me on all these screens that could have gone for maybe a few extra yards, could have moved the sticks on 3rd down or 2nd and long. You see Malik Jackson, you see Derek Barnett, Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, Fletcher Cox. It is contagious with those guys. That is the culture that they've built in that defensive line room over the course of the last few years, and that showed up, I thought, today. I'm excited to see what that looks like on film tomorrow morning.
Oh, Ike, I thought you were going to respond.
For sure, Fran. To watch. Oh yeah. Well, for sure, Fran. I completely agree. And what else is contagious is effort. And when you watch your leaders up front get to the football the way they did tonight and play with the effort in which they played tonight, Fletcher Cox, you know he's not 100% in and out of the game all night. I mean, the defensive players recognize that on the sideline. And what I noticed out there tonight, Fran and Amy, is a bunch of guys playing together, coming together, and playing with a lot of energy and a lot of effort. And it's just like in basketball. Energy finds the ball. And that's what the defense played with today. They were flying around. That's how you get tips. That's how you get fumble recoveries. That's how you get sacks, hits on the quarterbacks. You got to play with effort and energy, and it doesn't take any talent to do that on the defensive side of the ball. And that's what you saw tonight was a defensive unit really flying around to the football, and they created havoc for this San Francisco offense. So it was great to see that.
Yeah, I think we could talk about that defense for a long time. Let's keep it moving. Ike, what else do you want to talk about tonight? There's so many good things to discuss here.
Well, it won't take long for me to get to my Bronco. He was bucking tonight. Yeah, let the Bronco buck. Carson Wentz, my man, easily the best game of the season for Carson Wentz, despite the early interception. I love the way that he didn't get down on himself. He really picked up his play after that. And the fact that he had to move the ball with his legs and being smart and judicious where he got the ball out to guys. I mean, just a great game from him. And then the throw. I mean, the best throw of the season to the new kid, Fulgham. We'll know his name by the end of the week. Don't worry. We'll have his name down pat by the end of the week. But a 42-yard touchdown, I mean, just dropped the ball right in the breadbasket for the biggest player tonight. I just thought Carson Wentz, the way he's played the last 2 weeks, I think he's starting to come out of it. I thought the game plan was tailor-made for him tonight. Got him outside of the pocket, got him on the run. His second best throw tonight didn't even count because it was a penalty on the play against the 49ers. I mean, that throw where he was able to escape the pocket and then hit Boston Scott down the field for 17 yards. It was just good to see Carson playing with confidence tonight. And those guys followed him. They believed in him. He led the charge. Just a nice job of him playing with confidence and swagger. Hopefully it's something he can build on, and hopefully this is something that he can carry on with him over the rest of the season.
I love that you highlighted both of those throws, Ike, because especially that one to Travis Fulgham, and even Al Michaels on the broadcast said his name is Travis Fulgham. That was a gorgeous deep ball by Carson Wentz. As soon as it left his hand, I was excited before I even saw what was going to happen. And I believe that Coach Doug Peterson is about to address the media. I think we have Coach Doug.
Hey, Coach, thanks for taking the time today. We'll get started with Bo Wolf and then Dave Zangaro.
Hey, Doug, we talked about the decision to punt at the end of overtime last week and how that, the message that sent was going for 2 in the first quarter. Were you trying to send a message with that decision? What went into that?
Just my decision to go. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the whys. I just elected to go. We executed the play and got the 2.
Dave and then John McMullen.
Hey, Doug, Carson wasn't perfect, but what did you think of his performance today? It was pretty gutty.
Very gutty. He played very well. And he played inspired. He led the football team tonight for the win. I mean, and quite frankly, I mean, yeah, it might not have been perfect, but you know, he gutted out several plays tonight, and my hat's off to him for just continuing to battle and continuing to stand in there and make some tough throws and some tough decisions, and he did a nice job. This is really more importantly though, really a team effort, team win tonight.
John, and then Rob Motti.
Hey, Doug. You always talk about the next man up mentality, and that really a 10-second span. Travis made the big play, and then Alex, who was only in the game because TJ got hurt, got the pick six. Can you talk about those two guys particularly and them stepping up in such a big situation?
Yeah, you know, in Travis's case, you know, he's been flashing, you know, in practice, and obviously with the injuries there at the position, been able to get him up and get him some work, and you know, I think he's got a good relationship with Carson on the football field, and you know, it's something that we can continue to build, you know, on his performance. I thought he played well. We'll look at the tape obviously on the ride home, but and then in Alex's case, this guy he's kind of the unsung hero. I mean, this guy's he's a four-core special teams player. He's a backup role player on defense, and he just battles. He comes to work every day. He's always in a great mood. He's excited. He's excitable. Guys rally around him, and I was happy for him to get that, you know, pick six. You know, obviously the interception, and then obviously end in the end zone. So, just a great play by him. But again, you know, two guys that are well deserved.
Rob, and then Kristen.
Doug, what is it about this team that when you're up against it, adversity strikes, injuries are piling up, you guys always seem to find a way to respond, find a way to win? And how does first place sound to you?
Well, you know, having played 4 games and first place sounds really good, you know, right now. But we got a long season ahead of us. You know, only the first quarter of the season is done, and you know, we got a long road ahead. One game at a time mentality. But I'm gonna tell you something. These guys don't quit. It's a resilient group. I'm so happy to be, you know, being able to coach and lead them, and it doesn't matter what the adversity is, what they're faced with. These guys seem to rally around each other. This is a tough road game to come out here on the road. You know, traveling East Coast to West Coast, play on a Sunday night is tough. It's tough on the guys, but they seem to find a way, and my hat's off to them, and excited for those guys in the locker room.
Kristen, and then Jimmy Kempski.
Hey, Doug, you touched on Alex Singleton there, but for your defense to be able to get those 3 turnovers for, you know, really the first time this season, I mean, what did it mean for the confidence of the defense to be able to kind of get that ball rolling?
Yeah, you know, it's something that we've talked about quite a bit here lately, and being able to protect the football, obviously, and then get the takeaways. And tonight we got the 3 takeaways, which was huge. I mean, they were critical parts of the game, and that's what it takes, you know, to win games like this against good opponents. You need something to go your way, and those were key moments that our defense, I thought the D-line played really well, putting pressure on the quarterbacks to be able to cause some of those interceptions, and then obviously the fumble. But it's just a great effort and you know, I'm excited for the defense that they got those takeaways.
Jimmy, and then Jeff McLean.
Hey, Doug. Carson had 65 rushing yards and a touchdown last week. Tonight, 37 and a touchdown. Can his ability to make plays with his feet sort of offset, you know, the recent struggles with accuracy and the fact that you have so many receivers hurt? And is that something that you encouraged him to do, or something that he just kind of took upon himself?
Well, part of the game plan, you know, each week, and really, you know, Carson does a great job of taking off when he needs to and making plays with his legs. And, you know, some of it's by design. Some of it's obviously part of the run game where he can keep it. And, you know, we just got to make sure we're doing the right thing as far as, you know, kind of protecting him as well. We don't want to put him, you know, in those situations where he's always taking a beating that way or, you know, being hit. So, you know, but he was smart tonight. You know, we encourage him to use his legs when he can, and then we continue to, you know, to scheme plays, you know, when they're there for him. And you know, that's the part of the game tonight that he played. He played real physical, played tough, and it was good to see.
Jeff, and then Mike K.
Doug, what went into your decision to go for it on 4th and 4 rather than have Jake kick a 55-yard field goal that would have potentially tied the game?
Yeah, in that situation there, it was, it was just a decision to go. We wanted to stay on the field. We needed to get that first down right there. Listen, I just decided to go and put the ball in our hands. Trust your players, trust the decision that I made, and you just trust the call. And guys executed extremely well, got the first down, and stayed on the field.
Mike and then Martin.
Doug, you had a lot of moving parts in the offensive line tonight. How do you think the group performed over well, and how do you what went into the decision to have Jordan kind of handle that left tackle spot today?
Well, obviously the JP injury. Jordan's been getting a lot of reps over there at left tackle, and that's his spot. So he's been comfortable there. We've been comfortable with him there, and I thought overall he did some good things tonight. Played well. Take a look at the film and evaluate it on the way back. And we had a few extra O linemen up today in this game because there are some guys battling through some things, and I thought overall the offensive line played well. They played tough, and that's what it takes. I mean, this is a good defense that they played, a good front, and they're aggressive and they attack. And I thought our offensive line with the moving pieces and parts that we had, really stepped up and did well.
We have time for two more, so we'll go Martin and then Zach Berman.
Hey, Doug, kind of following up on that a little bit. I mean, did you ever picture a scenario like at this point in the season where you'd be down like 4 offensive linemen, your top 4 wide receivers would be out, and still you guys would find a way to win tonight?
You never probably think of those scenarios, and you're always trying to think positively and not negatively. And, but listen, it is what it is, and we are where we are. And my hat's off to the guys in the locker room. They don't listen. They don't listen to the outside noise. They focus on each other. They battle every single day. They come to work every single day. They practice hard, and, they come out here and compete, and that's all I can ask.
Last one here was Zach.
And so, Doug, from your perspective, what was the biggest difference with your team tonight compared to the first 3 games?
Quite frankly, we didn't talk about this being like a must win. We didn't feel the pressure of having to go out and perform, coaches and players. We just owned it, right? We just took it upon ourselves to go out and execute and just rally and support around. We knew we had some new guys in the lineup tonight, and it was going to take all guys that were dressed in uniform, to win this game against a fine opponent, and that's what they did. And they rallied, they battled. It wasn't pretty or what, but it doesn't matter. A win's a win in this league, and they're hard to come by. And for us to get the first one and get the feeling of that, gives us a little juice, a little momentum, heading into this next week.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Coach says not feeling the pressure. I love that he talks about getting that juice going into next week. And to me, that's one of the things to focus on from tonight's game as we continue to wait for more players. We'll be carrying their press conferences live here. One of the things to focus on from tonight's game is injecting that juice into this offense. All right, we are going to head back over there. Alex Singleton is taking the podium after his big night tonight.
Hey, Alex, thanks for taking the time today. We'll get started with Ruben Frank and then Ed Kratz.
Hey, Alex, congratulations on the play. Can you just run us through that play and just kind of what your reaction was when TJ got hurt and you went in? You haven't played a lot of defensive snaps since you've been here.
The play, obviously, he kind of threw the ball right to me. So my heart kind of skipped a beat and then just caught it and went with it. And knew I had to get in the end zone. We talk about it all week, to score on defense. So it was the only thing going through my mind. And then, when TJ went down, which is a huge loss, that's our Mike. TJ's a great football player. But, like Coach always talks about, next man up. And you don't want to be the weak link. You want to, be the strong link. So to be able to go out there and, be able to do my job as, the most important thing for this team. And, that's what hopefully I did.
Ed and then Les.
So this was a defense, Alex, that didn't have any forced turnovers coming in. So it must feel pretty good, I guess, to get that ball rolling in that direction.
Yeah, we've emphasized it, the last couple of weeks, and obviously the ball wasn't going our way. And, to be able to, have that happen with Rodney and then the sack and then obviously my interception, it's something we've been talking about for weeks, and we finally, it all clicked, and, our defense, kept playing the way we did, and then finally got some turnovers to go our way.
Les and then Nick.
Alex, it looked like you guys had things pretty well in hand except for Kittle. You didn't seem to have a great answer for him all night, but what was it like this is the first time you've really held a team under 23 and made the big plays. What does this do for the defense going forward?
It's just going to, a stepping stone. You got to get one. It's hard to get that first one. It's hard to get a win in this league. So to be able to, put it on our defensive shoulders and, kind of just push through it. The last few weeks, we were a stop or two away from being able to be there. And so to be able to do that tonight as a defense was huge. And, now, yeah, and, Kittle, he's a great player. You gotta do things to be able to stop them. We're like, to be able to hold them under, or at 20 is huge. So our offense scored enough points, and so we won.
Time for a couple more, so we'll go Nick, EJ, and then Daniel.
Now, Alex, you mentioned your heart skipped a beat. The ball was thrown right to you. But, watching you in training camp, it seemed like you were around the ball all the time when you did play with the defense. You kind of look at this as kind of a payoff or a reward for having such a, being such a great practice player.
It's been a long time, to obviously get to the point where I get any defensive snaps. First time in the league was, 6 years ago. So to be able to finally, have that come, to be able to make a play for this team is, what you do it for. As much as, I enjoy it for myself, I'm happy this team won, because that's, if we don't win at the end, you're sick to your stomach whether or not you scored or not. So it's huge, to get this win for the team and, to be able to be part of it.
Hey, Alex, how big was the pressure from the defensive line, and especially as the game wore on?
It's huge. Our D-line, they're fun to play with. As you guys know, it's a lot of hungry guys. They're rotating, and they're making plays all the time. And, I think today just paid off for everything they've been doing. To be able to stop the run against that team who runs the ball, who, tells you they're going to run the ball, and to be able to stop it and, let them be able to rush and go do their thing. That's what makes this team special is our D-line, in my opinion. So to see the way they played tonight was pretty awesome.
Last question here with Daniel.
Hey, Alex, when you finally get into the end zone after the touchdown, what's the first thing that goes through your mind, to kind of have that moment in that spot? What are you thinking about?
It was real quiet stadium. It was an interesting feeling. I haven't scored a touchdown since my junior year of college. So, it was really cool. It's exciting, just to be part of it. And obviously Sunday night, you got to go find the fan cam in the corner. So, we talk about that, as a defense, if you score, where we're going to go. So it was pretty exciting to be able to do that.
Thanks, Alex.
Okay, there is no way everybody watching that is not smiling and is not so excited for Alex Singleton after his first NFL touchdown, a pick six, a critical one in this win tonight. And with that, we are going to go back. Another Eagles defender, Jalen Mills, is taking the podium to take some questions. Let's listen.
Hey, Jalen, thanks for taking the time. We'll get started with Chris Murray and then Bo Wolf.
Jalen, how important was it for the defense, given everything that's happened in the last couple of weeks, to set the tone and really dictate the outcome of this game?
Very important. One of the message that was said last night was give everything you got. You know what I'm saying? After this game, we want to be dog tired. When we get back in this locker room, it should be a deep exhale from each and every person on that defense, because we know if we give everything we got, every single person, we're going to come out with this win.
Bo and then Jeff Skaversky.
Hey, Jalen, what has Travis Fulgham done anything during practice, going up against him over the past, month or so to stand out to you?
Yeah, he was a guy actually, and you can ask anybody on the team. He was a guy that I actually used to brag on the sideline. But once he got in during camp, I literally never seen him drop a ball. And I used to always walk up and down the sideline every time he would catch a ball, and I would say, I've never seen this dude drop a ball at practice. I know once he gets his opportunity, he's gonna make the most of it. And today was his day. Sunday Night Football. No bigger stage.
Jeff, and then Paul Domowitch.
Hey, Jalen, what does it say about this team? You guys have been just decimated with injuries, offensive line, receivers, just all sorts of issues. You get off to a tough start to this season, but for you guys to go cross-country, get a win, a nail-biter at the finish, what does it say about the character of this team and the determination?
It kind of seems like, my 4 years here now going on 5, it's kind of been the same kind of book, that's been written each and every year. Somebody goes down and, it's the next man up mentality, and I think that's kind of been our identity of this team, and, we've kind of embraced that. And I mean, what no better way to have it than guys who, are hungry and they're getting an opportunity and they're making the most of it and also helping us get a win, man. I think that's really, really big. That speaks on, not only the characters that we got, as players, but also the coaching staff and coaching those guys up and giving those guys a chance.
We have time for 2 more, so we'll go Paul and then Dave Zangaro.
Yeah, Jalen, what was the approach for the defense today? I mean, with the injuries, I mean, you're down playing corner. Cre'von's getting his first significant action. Avery played a ton of snaps. They've got Kittle back. I mean, was it just not giving up the big play?
No, it was attack-style defense. We know at the end of the day, they're a team who's going to run the ball. They don't care, what front you in. They're going to run the ball. They're going to try to push the ball down the field with their big offensive linemen. They're good tight end who can run block, and pass catch, but they're going to run the ball. So our whole week we were just saying, they're not going to run the ball on us. We're a defense that, kind of struggle against the Rams, and, we know that this was another big test, and I think we stood up well.
Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, Jalen, you talked about kind of the unknown guys at certain points making big plays. To see Alex Singleton, who's kind of been a special teamer for you guys for the last couple seasons, make that play, what did that mean for the whole team?
Man, it's so big, man. I'm so happy for him, man. That guy, he's had a long journey, and for him to get that on a turnaround and get that interception and score, that was so big for this team, man. I'm so happy for him. Dude works extremely hard, not only on special teams, but now, like I said, he got his opportunity on the field and he make the most of it. And I know that's not going to go unseen by the coaches. So for sure, I'm thinking he's going to get a little bit more extra playing time now, and I look forward to seeing him out there.
Thanks, Jalen.
Yep, thank you.
All right, clearly everyone's so happy for Alex Singleton, hearing high praise there from Jalen Mills. Doug Peterson earlier calling him the unsung hero, a guy who works so hard. And if you just watched his press conference before Jalen Mills, you can see just the passion, the energy. You can see why guys love having him in the locker room, in the huddle, and as a part of this team. And a lot to celebrate tonight for him. Let's talk a little bit about the 49ers offense. As we continue to wait for players, Jalen Mills talked about some of their game plan heading into this. Look, okay, and with that, Carson Wentz is ready, so we will continue breaking it down after we hear from the quarterback.
Hey, Carson, thanks for taking the time. We'll get started with Zach Berman and then Jeff McLean.
Hey, Carson, on the go-ahead drive, the 4th down pass to Hightower, then the touchdown pass to Fulgham. Can you take us through those 2 plays?
Yeah, Coach had a great play call on the 4th down to get John open. John did a good job of creating separation, and that was a huge play for us to keep that drive going. And then just a couple plays later, the go ball to Travis. Obviously, a limited amount of time on task working with Travis, but that's something that he can do and do well, and he tracks the ball well. And we broke the huddle, and I told him to be ready on that one, and we made a play, and pretty impressive how he not only caught the ball but kept his feet in to get in the end zone. But that was just a huge night for us to rally around a bunch of different guys, new faces out there making plays.
Jeff McLean and then Tim McManus.
Carson, we talked this past week about how what happened late last season with all the injuries, that maybe that's something that could get you guys going again this week. How did that factor into the game plan? How did that factor into your mentality when you were out there, when you were preparing for this game?
Yeah, I think as far as the game plan went, we kind of just did what we did, and had a game plan ready to go for that style of defense, and expected guys to step up and make the plays when asked to, and that's what we did, and for me, as far as my preparation, and, I didn't overthink anything. It was, guys are there and they're going to make the play and trust them, and, guys did a good job all week of coming together and building this thing together, and Obviously tonight it was just a huge team win. Everybody all around, offense, defense, special teams, making plays when they needed to.
Tim and then Chris Franklin.
Carson, how many times did you have the opportunity to rep that play with Travis in practice? And what did you get to say to him afterwards in the locker room or on the sidelines?
Rep that play once, and it's just cool. We broke the huddle. I told him to be ready. I've seen him with this team for a while now, going up against our defense on scout team, and what he does to our defense. So been watching him and seeing what he's capable of doing, and I was just proud of him for coming out here tonight and making the plays when asked of him.
Chris,
did you hit on that one in practice?
We did. So we're 2 for 2 on that one.
Chris and then John McMullen.
Carson, did you make a concerted effort to use your legs more tonight, being that with the situation with all your lack of weapon or starters that were in the game?
No, I don't go into a game thinking, it's time to scramble or anything. Pocket sometimes breaks down. They do a good job in coverage. So, sometimes they cover us up and got to make a play. And so that's something really the last 2 weeks that, I'm feeling good. Guys are doing a good job holding their blocks up front. So when we can extend plays like you saw tonight, there's some big plays to be had down the field when the things do break down like that.
John and then Martin Frank.
Hey, Carson, you mentioned the guys up front. Jordan, obviously, his first start at left tackle, and there are a lot of moving parts. Lane was in and out with the ankle. I think Jason left for a little bit as well. How did that affect you? And I know you got to look at the tape, but how do you think Jordan played in his first start?
Yeah, like you said, we got to watch the tape, but, off the bat, I feel like he did a great job. I'm so proud of him and Jack and just stepping up when asked. It was one of those things that didn't know who was going to play this week, where they were going to be, and decided yesterday, it was Jordan's time. And for him, how hard he's worked ever since he's been here to get this opportunity on Sunday Night Football and to do a great job. I think the whole O-line did a great job against a really good defensive line over there, and he held his own and did a great job. Obviously, we'll watch the tape, but I'm just proud of him and really everybody for stepping up.
Martin and then Rob Monty.
Carson, I know you obviously played last season, the end of last season with, so many of your top receivers out, but did you ever envision having to do this again, not only with the wide receivers, but without 4 offensive linemen?
Yeah, you can't really make it up, the injuries and the situations that we've been put in. But, that's the hand we're dealt. That's the hand we're dealt, and guys have been ready. They've been working their tail off for their moment when it comes, and you saw tonight a bunch of guys making plays that maybe were on practice squad last week or different things. And obviously the O-line, a lot of young guys that have been filling in and stepping up and doing an amazing job. And so really, hats off to the coaches for getting these guys ready, but, hats off to these guys for staying ready and being locked in the way they were for tonight.
We have time for 2 more, so we'll go Rob and then Les.
Carson, 2 weeks in a row, you've been running the ball a lot, but also even when you're not running with the ball, you're moving around a lot, you're throwing on the run. How comfortable are you doing that? How much do you enjoy being on the move, creating and extending plays and making things happen?
Yeah, I love being on the move and, extending plays, making things happen, like you said. I think just it puts a lot of stress on the defense. Obviously, I got to be smart and know when to take my chances and know when to throw the ball away, all of those things. But, especially a team like tonight that plays a lot of zone coverage, when plays break down, they're out of position or guys are coming open down the field. So, that, like I said, there's a lot of big plays to be had when you do escape and move the pocket. And, we've made a couple of them tonight.
Last one here with Les.
Carson, it just seemed like for so many drives tonight, you had to just inch the ball down the field. And it was so painstaking, and every mistake, the Jordan Mailata false start killed a drive, every mistake just seemed enormous. What was it like to overcome that? How much patience did you have to hang in through all of that and get the points at the end?
Yeah, you got to be patient anytime you're going up against a good defense like that, but not only a good defense, but the way they play. They're going to play discipline. They're going to make you, move the ball underneath, and just really earn it. They're not going to give up many big plays, and we knew that coming into the game. We knew that, and we built the game plan around that. And like you said, obviously the mistakes and little things can add up in those certain drives, but guys made enough plays to get the win tonight, and I'm proud of them.
Thanks, Carson.
Okay, and that's the Eagles quarterback after his best performance of the season so far. And one thing I want to make sure everybody at home knows, if you didn't see it, Jordan Mailata got the start at left tackle, his first start in the NFL. After the false start, costly penalty by Mailata. Immediately, Wentz goes up to him, pats him on the shoulder. Love to see that leadership. Another big night as well. Travis Fulgham with the big touchdown catch from Carson Wentz, and he is ready to take some questions from the media.
Hey, Travis, thanks for taking the time. We'll get started here with Ed Benkin and then Mike Kay.
Hi, Travis. Carson said that was a play you guys hit on in practice. How, I don't want to say surprised, but to have that moment in that situation, you get a chance to kind of seize the moment a little bit and reflect on how you got to this point?
Absolutely. It's definitely been a long year for me, long off season, but I came here to Philly, and they definitely gave me an opportunity. Working with Carson has been great. Like he said, in practice, we hit on it. It was a perfect throw then, and then in the game, he doubled back with that and gave me a perfect throw and made it easy for me.
Thank you.
Mike and then Ed Kratz.
Travis, like you said, it's been a kind of a wild year for you going from Detroit to Green Bay to here. What was the experience how much did the experience of the practice squad kind of help you coming into this game, knowing what to expect, and also having that experience with Detroit that you did have?
Well, with practice squad, I'm going against some of the best corners in the game. They really got me ready, and they really got me ready for this moment. And I owed all of the guys out on the field. They all had confidence in me, and that means a lot.
Ed and then Ruben Frank.
Hey, Travis, I think your first career catch was a 15-yarder in the first half. Just getting that first catch out of the way, how important was that to kind of maybe set up that 42-yard touchdown reception?
Absolutely. It was a big moment for me, first catch. I think it just gave Carson the trust in me to come back the second time and give me a chance to score that touchdown.
Ruben and then Nick Fierro.
Can you just kind of run us through that play, through the touchdown from the start until you scored, till you got to the sideline, and just kind of what was going through your head through the whole play?
Well, after we broke the huddle, Carson said, "Get ready." So I knew it was a good shot. He's going to throw the ball to me. So came off the line, kind of beat the corner, just do what I do every day in practice, and we just executed. At first, I actually lost the ball, but since Carson gave me a great throw, I was able to locate it, and it was right in the breadbasket, so we came with the touchdown.
We have time for two more, so we'll go Nick and then Daniel.
Travis, more on that play. When Carson was talking about it, he said you were only repped it one time, in practice all week. You hit on it, but you only repped it one time. How unusual is it, to go to a play like that with the game on the line? And have you ever been, had experience doing something like that before, college level, high school level?
I mean, for me, that's a regular play. The ball's in the air, see ball, go get it. But with me and Carson, I mean, the first play we did in practice, it was perfect. So we just had to do the same thing again.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Carson had a lot of success down the stretch last year with kind of, guys coming up from the practice squad, a lot of moving parts. You're a guy that came in, made a big play. What does Carson do, to build that chemistry, with guys like you to be able to do this right away?
Well, throughout practice, we're getting extra work. After practice, we're getting extra work. And, he just had the confidence in us. And, with that, we're able to just play our game, not worry about other things, just trusting our quarterback.
Thanks, Travis.
That's wide receiver Travis Fulgham, who has 2 NFL catches in his career, one of them a 41-yard toe-tapping touchdown from Carson Wentz, a critical play in the game tonight as the Eagles take down the 49ers on the West Coast. And we are continuing to keep it covered here for you, waiting for players to take the podium. And great stuff there from Fulgham. And, okay, so we have Jordan Mailata ready to go. Oh, nope, it's cre'von LeBlanc.
Hey, cre'von, thanks for taking the time. We'll get started with Bo and then Dave Zangaro.
Cre'von, no bottle caps on your performance tonight. Tell us about the big play, forcing the fumble, and coming back from the play that you had given up down the field to Kittle.
Man, I gave up one against Kittles. Great player, phenomenal player. You know, it happens to the best of us. I knew I had to go out there and make a play, and that play that I made ended up changing the course of the game. So, had the defense real hype. We went out there and finished with a big dub. Big dub.
Steve and then Jeff McLean.
Can you take me through the forced fumble there? What were you seeing coming on that blitz? And did you think you had a chance to get the ball free?
Actually, I think they motioned Kittles on the right side into a bunch, and I stayed backside. And once I came off the edge up under the DN, the guard seen me late. I bent the corner on him, smooth dipped my shoulder, seeing the quarterback still had the ball in his hand, and realized that I still had time to get there, and end up just stretching out and making a play.
Jeff and then Martin.
Strap, you guys had a lot of injuries in the secondary at the cornerback position.
But at the end of the day, I think we came back.
I can't hear him.
Go ahead.
Maya, can you hear me?
Say it again. Say it again. You broke up a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Step in there.
Is it me or is it?
Say it again. You broke up a little bit.
Hey, Cre'von, can you just talk about what it was like with all, the moving parts on defense, guys playing in different positions, and how you guys were able to kind of hold it together for the most part?
I mean, Jim see us all as X's out there, man. We all play multiple positions. Like I always say, Jay played corner, he played dime, he played safety. I played corner, I played dime, nickel, dollar. Rod played quarter, dime, safety. So it's a lot of moving parts to it, and that's the phenomenal part about it, that we're all interchangeable.
We'll end it here with John McMullen.
Hey, Strap. We had talked all week with you and a number of the other defensive players about creating turnovers, not only yours, but also Rodney was able to get one in, obviously, the big pick six by Alex. What did it mean to that defense to sort of get that whole process going, start taking the football away?
Man, it mean a lot. We pride ourselves on turnovers, especially it starts in practice. We set a goal. We try to get 3 turnovers in practice week in and week out. And the goal was to win this football game, but we knew we had to come out with some turnovers in order to win this game, and that's exactly what we did. Alice with the pick six, Rod with the pick, and me with the strip sack. So we end up getting 3 right there, and we end up doing our job to seal the deal.
Thanks, Cre'von.
All right, love that. Got the 3 takeaways, which is the goal every week. And, of course, Cre'von mentioning his strip sack of 49ers quarterback Nick Mullins. A critical play, Malik Jackson with the fumble recovery. That was with about 10 minutes to go in the game with the Eagles down 3, so a huge momentum changer. All right, we are about to hear now from Jordan Mailata, who just made his first start in the NFL.
Hey, Jordan, thanks for taking the time. We'll get started with Nick Fierro and then Paul Domowitch.
Hi, Jordan. I was watching you a little bit before you went out there. Just wondering how you felt going into your first start. Were you nervous at all? And you feel like you were prepared? How do you feel like you played?
I got to give a special thanks to Joe Osman this week. Joe really worked me during all the reps this week, and I feel like he prepared me for this game. Even when I didn't know I was starting, he worked me, made sure that I was getting a good look, made sure I was getting off the ball, getting on the snap cadence as well. So, yeah, hats off to Joey Osman, Smoking Joe. Of course, first game starting, had a little bit of jitters, but once that first drive was over, it was gone. Felt like I was at home. And, it was great to get this dub.
Paul and then Zach Berman. Or Zach, if you're ready, jump in there.
Hey, Jordan, this past week, how would you describe how it went in terms of the uncertainty with Jason Peters? When did you find out you were going to start?
I mean, like I was saying earlier, I really just prepare like I am starting, just in case. We're a big next man up mentality team. So, you never know what could happen in this game of football. That's the one thing I've learned the last 3 years being here. And how I found out, it's kind of just a feeling. Walked in on Saturday morning and everyone was like, yeah, you're up. So that was pretty much it. And I was like, cool, let's do it.
Paul and then Martin.
Jordan, that second quarter false start could have bothered you and stayed with you. It didn't seem to, though. You seemed to put it behind you and move on after that.
Yeah, it bothered me. It was a cadence that I was unfamiliar with. So I got to work on that one a bit more at practice. But, we're big, our teammates stress out all the time. Focus for 4 seconds and then next play mentality. That's pretty much it. So after that play, I had to just think about the next play and not worry about it.
We'll end with this last question. Go ahead, Martin.
Hey, Jordan, you're obviously starting in place of a guy, Jason Peters, who, has been in the league for 17 years, probably started close to like 200 games and everything. I mean, did you feel some extra pressure, like trying to replace a guy like that? I mean, how did you approach that?
I'm not trying to fill anyone's boots. I'm trying to make my own boots. That's the one thing I came here to do, trying to put some respect on my name and tell people that I ain't a rugby player anymore. I'm a footballer. So that's one thing for me. And I'm glad I have guys like JP and Lane Johnson who coach me up on the sideline, who coach me up every day at practice and make me a better player and person. So my hat's off to them.
Thanks, Jordan.
After Jordan Mailata's first NFL start, he gives credit to Lane Johnson, to Jason Peters, and to Joe Ostman for giving him some good work at practice this week. Love to hear that. A great teammate indeed. All right, we are going to take a quick break on the other side. We'll continue to discuss this as well as the Ricoh review, the nominees for Toyota Player of the Week. Stay with us. All right, great to have you with us here on the Postgame Show presented by Ricoh as we continue to break down a Philadelphia Eagles win 25-20 over the San Francisco 49ers, putting them in first place in the NFC East. All right, tonight's subject of the Ricoh review, a Carson Wentz rushing touchdown. Wentz getting it done with his legs in this one to put the team on his back. Will the Eagles to a win? Here's Fran Duffy with the Ricoh review on Carson Wentz's rushing touchdown.
So on that very next play, after the Sanders catch and run, you're going to see a touchdown run from Carson Wentz on an inside zone read, where you're going to get the offensive line all flowing to the right on zone blocking. You're going to get Boston Scott. He's going to carry out the run as if he's going to get this football. All Carson Wentz has to do is read this defensive end. If he stays outside, you hand the ball off to Scott. If he crashes in too far, attempting to tackle the running back, well, now you keep the ball and you get into the back. Now, what you'll see defenses do is typically if this guy is going to really overcommit, you want to scrape a second-level defender over the top to protect against the quarterback keeper. But here you can see not only is the defensive end aggressive, but the linebacker is nosy as well. So the only guy back to fill in the backside is that safety, who is now going to be one-on-one with Carson Wentz. We're going to take the snap here. You're going to see Carson Wentz. He's going to read that DN, sees him crashing, gets up to the second level, makes that safety look silly in the hole, and he runs in to get the Eagles on the board, and they take the lead 6-0.
Now is your chance to vote for the Toyota Player of the Week. Go to PhiladelphiaEagles.com/Toyota Toyota Player of the Week to cast your vote and get a chance at a brand new Toyota. Today's nominees: wide receiver Travis Fulgham, cornerback cre'von LeBlanc, and of course, quarterback Carson Wentz. Guys, we can make an argument for all three of these guys tonight. It is a tough call which way I'm going. I'm still deciding right now. I think I have to go with Carson Wentz. Because that throw to Fulgham, man, when that ball left his hand, I about stood up out of my chair. I didn't even see where the receiver was, but the way it left his hand, you just have that feeling when you look at that kind of play. Ike, I'll start with you. Who's your pick out of these three?
Wow, I tell you, it's hard to not vote for Carson and what he was able to do tonight by putting this offense on his back. But I got to give some love to the defense. I got to give cre'von LeBlanc the game ball tonight. I think that sack, that fumble, when the Eagles were down by 3, which led to the Fulgham touchdown, was a huge play in this game. Really turned the game for the Eagles. So I got to go cre'von LeBlanc. Give some love to the defense tonight.
In the most predictable part of the night, I picked the defensive player for Toyota Player of the Week. What about you, Fran?
Oh, I'm just surprised he didn't go with the let the Bronco buck. To me, I think I'm going to give this to Carson because, Ike, you mentioned it earlier. He just looked more like himself tonight. You saw him out in the move, and that was great. But I think to me, the ball came out of his hand well. He was definitely more accurate than we've seen him at any point so far in this young season here tonight. In the biggest moment in the game that the Eagles needed to have, they come out on top, and he, in a lot of ways, helped will them to victory. That drive that ended with the Fulgham touchdown, just for them to be able to bounce back and show that resiliency after 2 huge plays that could have cratered the drive with negative plays in the backfield, and he's able to still get them back and get them into the end zone. I'm going to give this one to number 11.
Well, and one point that I don't want to let go unsaid is we talk about, injecting some life, injecting some juice into this offense, and Doug Peterson saying he was going to try some different things. I thought he called a brilliantly creative game, especially given the personnel and the injury limitations. But I don't think it should be understated how important that going for 2 was in the first quarter. Because to me, when you're talking about giving some momentum, when you're setting that tone right out of the gate, that is going to give momentum. And then, of course, we saw him go for it on the 4th and 4 later. That turned into a score as well. So a lot of credit to Doug Peterson on that aggressiveness and just how much that fires up a team as well. All right, let's shift gears to next week's game. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who are now coming off an unexpected bye after their game this week was moved to their bye week later in the season. I do want to get both of your thoughts on this opponent, one of the best defenses in the NFL. Ike, what do you think about Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Just like tonight's game out in San Francisco going up against this defense, they don't give you a lot of big plays. Eagles were able to hit the one big play to Fulgham and get the touchdown. Take it up a notch when you talk about going out to Pittsburgh and taking on that defense, and obviously a future Hall of Fame quarterback as opposed to having Nick Mullins or C.J. Beathard at the quarterback position. Ben Roethlisberger will be a different beast they have to take on. But this is going to be an uphill climb for this team. They've dug themselves a little bit of a hole here. So, they got to dig themselves out of it. It's going to take a lot of what they did tonight again next week. And what I mean by that, you're going to need a collective effort. All 3 phases of the game. You're going to need another good game plan from Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz. But it's not impossible to go out there and beat Pittsburgh. So the Eagles just need to make sure they don't beat themselves and give themselves a chance late in this game against Pittsburgh.
And what wasn't expected even just a couple of days ago was that the Steelers would have some extra time to prepare for the Eagles. And, of course, Big Ben back and healthy this year, playing at a very high level, Fran, in this offense.
Yeah, and of course, we'll be talking all about this matchup this week. Ike Reese will be on Eagles game plan, so check out for that later this week on PhiladelphiaEagles.com. We'll be covering it on the Eagle Eye in the Sky podcast as well on Tuesday morning. But I think when you look at this Steelers team, it's one of the best defenses in the NFL. They are extremely, extremely aggressive, a ton of blitz packages, very multiple in the back end in terms of their coverages. They've got playmakers to create turnovers. And then offensively, it's a power run game. They're trying to go smash mouth mouth, right up the gut. And then they're going to try and create big plays down the field. Chase Claypool, the rookie second-round pick, has been making plays for them at the wide receiver position. They've got some other young guys in that receiving core as well. With Big Ben healthy, they're able to throw it a little bit. So obviously coming off the week of rest, it's a matchup we'll be talking about a lot here this week.
Yes, all week as well. And of course, we will be right back here next week to break it all down for you on the Kickoff Show presented by Exalted. That'll be at 12:15 Eastern, 45 minutes before the kickoff of the Eagles at the Pittsburgh Steelers. But tonight, or shall I say this morning, let's enjoy this great win. First place in the NFC East. You got, 24 hours before you look to the next one? We got a little time to celebrate. All right, everyone, have a wonderful night. Enjoy this win. We will be looking ahead to Pittsburgh all week, and we will see you next week on the Kickoff Show.